The Major League show jumping season is over and the Longines EEF series have just started. Rodrigo Pessoa connects with 5-star Grand Prix wins and Patricio Pascual tells us where it went right and wrong for him in that Monterrey Grand Prix. All of that coming up in this episode of The Horse Show, but first the quick strides presented by Uvex. This week, the show jumping world said goodbye to one of its most recognizable faces. Coronado NRW, the grey stallion who carried Marcus Ehning to championship-level success for more than a decade, was put down at the age of 23. The North Rhine-Westphalian state stud confirmed his passing earlier this week, citing an incurable tumour. With Ehning, Coronado won the 2014 World Cup in Bordeaux, the Grand Prix of Saut-Hermès in Paris in that same year, and the 2016 Rolex Grand Prix in 's-Hertogenbosch. He jumped 3 World Cup finals. He jumped at the World Equestrian Games in Caen and at the Rio Olympics. A one-eyed wonder in his later years, Coronado retired from the sport in 2021 and continued as a sire. Steve Guerdat has sold one of his top horses. Isminka, the 13-year-old grey Mylord Carthago mare he rode to the Bordeaux World Cup victory in 2024 and Switzerland's Nations Cup win in Brussels in the same year, has moved to the United States of America. Her new rider is American rider Elise Haas. Guerdat told French magazine Grand Prix the sale wasn't part of the plan, but 2 long back injuries left him in a difficult financial spot. The deal includes one condition: Isminka returns to Guerdat's stable at the end of her sporting career to be used for breeding. The Longines Global Champions Tour made its 3rd stop of the season in Shanghai over the weekend. At the Shanghai JUS International Equestrian Center, almost half the field made it to the jump-off, 19 clear rounds from 40 starters. That made it even more surprising that the time set by first starter Nicolas Philippaerts held up. The Belgian and his 16-year-old mare Katanga van het Dingeshof stopped the clock at 45.31 seconds and no one could match it. Scott Brash was faster but didn't stay clear. Marcus Ehning was second on Coolio and with France's Antoine Herman 3rd place aboard Giamo VDS. The 2026 Longines EEF series is up and running. The series, held over 4 different regions in Europe with 2 qualifiers per region, kicked off with Region Central, starting in Mannheim, Germany. On Sunday, the home team didn't waste a chance. Germany defended their title at the Maimarkt Turnier with 2 clear rounds from Stefan Engbers on Bayou and anchorman Gerrit Nieberg on IB Queen, finishing on a clean sheet. Belgium was second with 4 faults, just over a second faster than Ireland in the tiebreak on 4 penalties. With chef d'équipe Ralf Runge, Germany's quartet of Sandra Auffart, Michael Jung, Engbers and Nieberg booked their place at the EEF semi-finals in Chamorin in July. Next up is the opening qualifier for the West region in Lier, Belgium this weekend. Jessica Burke is parting ways with the horse who carried her into the history books. Star du Bary, the small grey gelding she rode to her first 5-star victory in Bordeaux in February, becoming the first woman ever to win that World Cup leg, has been sold. Joe, myself and probably you at home were great fans of Jessica Burke and Star. We asked her for a reaction. Well, here it is.
Star, my beloved Rocky, he's unfortunately sold. Okay, it was, always the plan when we bought the horse as a 6-year-old to sell him at some stage. Obviously, the last 6 months changed things a little bit, but my owner is not, all about the sport, more about, buying them, producing them and selling them. So ultimately, he had to be sold. And the one positive from that is that I'm very happy with the new home he goes to. For sure, it means I have to take a step back, trying to get my head around it. Since the World Cup, the only way I can think about it is I've now moved to a new stable in Ireland, Ballyward Equestrian Centre, who hopefully in the future, when I have horses at this level, the plan is to keep them and jump at this level. And I suppose that we can. I did a lot of travelling last year with just one horse, so it would be nice to try and build a team, even though I'm going to have to take a step back for a moment. I was there when he was tried after the World Cup finals, and I, dropped the horse off. Obviously, very emotional. I think it took me, probably all the traveling home and everything. I kind of got my head around what was actually happening. So when the moment came, goodbyes are never nice, are they?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Horse Show. Normally this is the point or the part in the show where I make a joke, find a funny way to introduce my next guest, and I have to be honest, this is not the moment to be funny or to be hilarious. Joe and I were in a relationship for the last, some 30 episodes here in the Horse Show, and like in any relationship, things don't go as they should. So we have to talk about it, Joe. I thought I was your friend.
Yeah.
I thought that we were honest and open with each other.
Okay, I'm going to go with this. Go on. I can't wait to see it.
Why did you not tell me? You made me a promise 2 or 3 episodes ago that when you were going to make your comeback, you were going to tell me, let me know, so I could come and stand there with my big banner.
But that's exactly why I didn't tell you. You with the big banner stood there. I've got street cred, I can't.
So you started competing again. We even had to ask your son to send us this video because you think you sent it to me. This is what I got from your son. He said, "Yeah, that's showing again." It took me a while. I sent it to the team. My heart was broken.
Yeah.
I felt alone. The guy who I trust the most in my recent years, didn't come through.
You know why? I'm happy he sent this actually because the horse makes me look quite good.
Really good.
That horse makes
really good.
It's a really good horse, and it makes me look good. But the reason I didn't tell you is because I was a bit nervous.
Really?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous.
So you're showing again?
Yeah, I'm showing again.
Okay, it's good to have you again amongst the riding people. That also gives a little bit more credibility to this stable. Because 2 people who don't ride, explaining other people.
But I am happy my son sent that video because there were other videos.
It's a really good video. Joe, Monterrey, Mexico. If you hear the name Monterrey or even La Silla, does it have an effect on you, the name itself?
Yeah, I mean, it's years and years of history, isn't it? I mean, it's even when I was young, riding, the name La Silla was something, and the colours iconic. Yeah. And the stadium it's
Did
incredible.
you ever watch the Pulsar Crown? I was too young.
Yeah, I watched it. And at that point, actually, I was a brief spell riding for Jan Tops at that time when he was sponsored by La Silla. Yeah, so and I was there at that moment. I was there for a few months. That was cool. It was a nice time.
I didn't know you were there. Yeah, Pulsar Crown. That's actually the predecessor of the Global Tour or the Rolex Grand Slam, so the major league of show jumping.
Yeah, that's right. Sponsored by Romo, yeah.
Yeah, it was really...
it was a cool time.
Really something really cool to see the La Silla Arena, the Monterrey Arena again. It was the final of the Major League show jumping. It was a beautiful Grand Prix that was built by Gregory Baudot. And to discuss that Grand Prix and all the technical lines, we have invited a Mexican to come and join us. So welcome to the Horse Show, Patricio Pascual.
Hi, how are you guys? Thank you for having me.
Hey,
we are really, really well. Where do we find you? I know it's early mornings in Mexico. Where are you at the moment?
I'm here in my office trying to get the best view. As you can see, you have the Mexican flag down there that Joe saw in the Longines. I'm a block away from the venue. So pretty well situated and happy to be with you guys in your show.
Very much appreciated. Patricio, first question. What is the right way to pronounce La Silla? Is it La Silla or La Silla?
La Silla, like you just said the second time. It's La Silla. And it's named because it's in front of the big mountain called Cerro de la Silla in Monterrey. That's why it's called La Silla.
La Silla. And apparently that is the saddle, right?
Which also means either the chair or the saddle in Mexico.
So the mountain looks like a saddle. Joe, we already...
The mountain
educating
looks exactly like a saddle.
There we go. Patricio, it was a very interesting Grand Prix course built by Gregory Baudot, Olympic course designer, came from Fontainebleau last week straight to Monterrey, to Mexico. What did you make of it? And in your opinion, what were the two most technical lines?
Yes, I think Anthony Bourdain did a great job because, as you know, in the Major League, we had, I think, Joe, please let me know, but I think 6 of the top 10 riders in the Grand Prix. But as you know, in the Major League, they also involve a lot of amateur riders like myself and some good American girl riders. So Anthony had to do a great job of putting a technical enough course, big enough, but that anybody could kill themselves. So I think he did a great job. At the end, I think there were 8 clears. Mm-hmm. I thought... The most difficult part was coming into the triple. You had an option of doing, it was the combination 9, A, B, and C. You could do 8 or 9. And then a hard U-turn to a big oxer down in the corner next to the VIP tables with 4 long strides. I think that line also caused a lot of trouble to a lot of good horses and riders.
Yeah, it was like a skinny gold oxer. I think the color of the fence made a little bit of a difference as well, didn't it?
Yeah, the skinny was a big, tall, middle 60 skinny with just 3 rails, 3 golden rails there that were 4 strides a bit moving. So if you landed a bit short of the big oxer before, some did 5 and some got very long on the 4.
And what do you think the difficult thing was coming into the combination? Because you were coming off a wall, a sort of 6 strides oxer, and then you had the choice of the outside 9 or the inside 8. I think you did 9, right?
Yes. At the end, I think 90% of the class did 9 or 10. Yeah. The 8 were just a very big, I think, of what I saw, maybe just the huge strider, the Shack Attack horse from Carlos Hank did the 8, but all the others did 9 or 10. You came out of the wall holding a bit, then the 6 strides got a bit long. Some people did even 7. And then you had to decide to move early on the 9 or sit back and do 10. And then I think the difficult part came. It was the triple. If you came in well, I think it was a nice combination, vertical oxer. And then you had to move in the back because you had a U-turn to a pretty big oxer, wide, like 1.70 meters wide. And then 4 long strides to 1.60 meters skinny. As you saw, I think a lot of the rails came in that line especially. Yeah.
I think that's coming around the corner, pushing through the turn, and then losing the balance a little bit on the oxer, right?
Exactly. Either they turned short to the oxer and had the oxer, no?
Yeah.
Or they came in normal to the oxer and then the 4 strides were long and they got the skinny. Unfortunately for me, I was to be honest, I didn't have the time in my mind. I'm usually a pretty fast rider. And I'm usually in the time well, and I didn't have that issue in my mind there. I was at the end, so I saw those issues happening there. So I landed from the triple and waited 2 strides more in the turn so I could have a good gallop into the oxer, and then the 4 strides were balanced for me. But I think I lost a little time there, and that's why I had the time fault.
I mean, I think your round was fantastic. You jumped great, but it's often the way when you're a little bit too relaxed about the time,
yes,
because your whole round looked quite relaxed. I think if you did it again, you could definitely easily get inside the time actually with your horse.
Yes, I think as you saw, my horse jumped really well the water, and then I just balanced with my body, and I ended up doing 9 very nicely to the next oxer, and then there, instead of doing a shorter turn and gaining some ground there, I waited and I gave some space to that wall that we hadn't jumped it in the whole week. It was a those walls that look pretty horrible, but they jump pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I lost a little time there, and then I lost time in this turn. I had planned it to take my time and catch that oxer right, but as you said, I didn't have the time in my head, and that catch me up. And like always, when you have a time fall, it catches you at the end. No, you have to be somewhere saving time all around.
Course, yeah.
Exactly, and then it catch me, unfortunately, because I would have loved to jump off for the 750,000.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. It's never a bad thing when your horse is jumping too high and you get a time fall though. It's
It is.
Patricio, 2 time penalties for you. Joe and I have been talking about World Championships for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We haven't spoken so much yet about the Mexican team. Is there a place for you on the Mexican team? Are you considering, because you call yourself an amateur in the beginning of this conversation, you call yourself an amateur, you've jumped Olympics, you've jumped Pan Americans, you've jumped, at least with Babel, you jumped 2 World Championships. You're not that much of an amateur. Are you looking at World Championships again, 2026?
Yes, thanks to how the horse is jumping. You saw him, Joe, in the global. He jumped pretty solid. I had a very unfortunate round in the Grand Prix because, as we talked, he lost both shoes, so he was sleeping all around, and I had a couple fences. But he had really 2 solid rounds this week. He was double clear in the qualifier in the first round and in the jump off, and then he was clear here with. So Mark Laskin, that is our chef d'équipe, he called me up to do Rome in a couple weeks in the Nations Cup there. So I think I have a pretty good chance. Obviously, we have to stay healthy, me and the horse and the team. But fortunately enough, we have pretty good young riders coming up in the Mexican team. We have Carlos Hank, you saw Eugenio Garza doing there. I think those guys are pretty solid. We have another very good rider in Europe called Fernando Martinez, doing very well. Then we have the old guys, my buddies, Federico Fernandez, Antonio Chedraui. These are all always doing a good job. So we have to stay solid, doing some clear rounds, but I would love to go to Aachen. I was there a couple of years ago in 21 with Babel. I was clear in the first round. In the Grand Prix, I went in last, and then I had number 1 in the second round. So I would love to go back to Aachen and give it a shot with a great team of riders. I think there are 6 or 7 of us that have a good chance of going.
Okay.
Were you on the winning team in Aachen?
No, unfortunately not. They were second 2 years ago, and I was not in that team.
Second 2 years ago.
Okay. Last question before we let you go. How proud are you of seeing Descartes doing so good so fast?
I'm very proud of Descartes because, as you know, we bred that horse in conjunction with Santa Rosa. He's the son of one of my horses, Caramelo, a clearway stallion that I had, and unfortunately, my brother and he kept that horse because he was a bit short for me. But fortunately for the horse, if I would have kept it, Ken wouldn't have been riding him. But the horse is doing amazing. I think Kent is very happy with the horse. He's an unbelievable horse. You know, that type of horse with a lot of attitude and a lot of blood, very, very thoroughbred, like Kent likes them. And my brother did a great job bringing him up with our coach, Nikolai Heinrus. These guys did a great job. And Kent was very fortunate to be called by my brother. He came down, he tried him, and he took him right away. And I think that's going to be a horse to look at the near future.
Yeah, I think we're going to discuss them in the rest of this episode as well. Patricio, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us, to explain us, so take us through the course. And we look forward to see you in Rome and maybe even in Aachen at the World Championships.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope so, and hope to see you soon, guys.
Yeah, see you soon, man.
Thank you, Patricio.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
That's fascinating, no? If he would have ridden it and not his brother, it would have stayed with him.
Yeah. Ken got lucky then, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. What else that I was thinking about? He calls himself an amateur, but
it's incredible, isn't it? I thought that when he came on. If he's an amateur, what am I? Yeah. He's ridden more championships than me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's a good rider. He's a good rider and fantastic horse.
Yeah, absolutely. That is round one. Let's say, is there anything else you want to take out of round one that that caught your eye? It was a lot going on a technical perspective, maybe even on debutants or whatever. Anything else?
I think it was a well-built course. There was a lot of drama all through the course. I think fence number one caused some problems.
Why did fence number one create so many mistakes?
I think for me, you were coming away from the entrance gate, and I think a lot of horses would fall into the inside here, you know, so fall into this side of the vertical. There was one rider that started from the left, I think Shane Sweetenham. And for me, that was strange. I thought a lot more riders would have started from the left because it gave you a little bit straighter jump, and then you could get the 10 better. So
it's remarkable. I can't remember a 5-star Grand Prix where the first fence falls 5 times and is so influential. Did it have anything to do with the related distance from 1 to 2? Because even Helena Stormans, when she started commentary alongside, I think it was Ed Holloway, made mention of, is it going to be 10? Is it going to be 9? You think that has a role?
Maybe some of the riders had that in their mind. I mean, you see the more experienced riders jumped the vertical, looked for the distance and rode up quite easily. Maybe some of the less experienced riders were already thinking about the 9 or the 10. But for me, it was more the approach, you know, more the falling to the inside on number one. But maybe falling to the inside to get the 9 already.
Yeah, all right.
By the way, Helena, it's great commentary, no?
Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I like listening to her. She's very in depth, and she says some things. I like it. I like listening to her commentary.
She's honest, and you can you
know what she's saying without her saying it. Oops.
Yeah. Really brilliant.
Cool.
That is Helena Stormans. Maybe we should have her on the show as well one of these days.
I feel like I'm losing my job.
Yeah. No. If you keep lying to me and keeping me away from the shows, that might happen.
Got it.
In the second part of the horse show, we're going to look into the jump off. These are the horses and riders that progressed into the jump off in Monterrey in Mexico. First clear from Shane Sweetenham on Corian van Klapschut, then Eduardo de Menezes, Michael Duffy, Mark Blumen, Kent Farrington, Rodrigo Pessoa, Chris Pratt, who had a very successful week there, and Marilyn Little was last to go in the jump off. How does that jump off play out? Stay tight, stay right there. We'll be back right after the break. Welcome back to the Horse Show, ladies and gentlemen. The Monterrey Grand Prix, the final Grand Prix of the season of the Major League Show Jumping Circuit. First round behind us, let's have a look at the jump off and how it played out. We just saw those that qualified, 8 qualified for the jump off, and in that group, some very, very interesting names. Joe, we're going to try to paint the picture. Here is how the jump off started.
Yeah. So here they all come off the left rein. You see Eduardo really gets up on the inside. I think he was the fastest there to number 2. Mark and Kent stay a little bit more in the middle of the jump. Eduardo really came to the inside here, and both of these stayed more in the middle. And you see Kent actually got quite straight. And you'll see why in a minute. Eduardo stays a little bit on the inside, has to slow down and then ends up deep. Mark rode it perfectly and Kent just dropped to the outside, you know, like he does, typical fashion. That's a little bit why he got straight to the second jump. Then he was able to stay outside and make the turn afterwards.
Yeah. This is another view. This is the 3D course plan. What did De Menezes do? What did Farrington and Blumen do?
So Eduardo came more from the inside and ended up on the inside here, and then took the inside line to number 3. And that he really had to slow down. And actually, he's got a biggest stride there. He would have been better coming outside, using that big stride, and then getting a better turn back. Mark came more round, got straighter, and then rode the middle line perfectly. That suited his horse. He has the perfect stride for that. 7, real nice balance 7. And then Kent, a bit the same like Mark, came more round the corner, got straighter, and then was able to come outside and use that big stride to move outside for the 7. Then he got a lovely jump, and then he was much quicker back to the third fence.
Yep. Okay. So De Menezes at that point actually led the race. He was the fastest up until that point. He's really excited about that horse, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a fantastic horse and combination, you know. You see they're really happy together, and every round they're growing together, you know. It's a really exciting combination for the future and even for the championships coming up.
De Menezes is on 4 penalties. We drop him. The next in line, who is fast up until that point, is Marilyn Little. Let's see how it plays out from there, from the freeze frame, where Marilyn Little is now replacing De Menezes. What happens here?
Yes, you see Marilyn's horse really smart on the water. She was able to travel up on the 7, did a little sort of half check the last stride, slowed the jump down, and then was able to turn much quicker than everyone else. And you see it, she's nearly a jump in front of everyone else here.
Because just to be clear, why did we show Marilyn Little in the beginning? Well, because she was just slower than De Menezes, Blumen and Farrington.
Yeah.
And just in not really one line, in a single turn, she gets more than a jump, a stride in front of that group.
I think it just came from the horse slowing itself down the last stride on the water, landing a bit shorter, and then being able to turn much quicker back.
As we can also see here, Mark Blumen has a fault on the Oxer.
Yeah.
So Mark Blumen drops out. However, we have to keep Mark Blumen in mind. We'll talk about him at the end of this comparison. We replace Blumen with Pessoa, who is next to come in. Just look.
Yeah. Look how tight he's turned. I mean, he's really landed. You can't see the vertical, it's just off screen, but he's really landed and turned much quicker than everyone.
Yeah, because these 2 trees are the same 2 trees that sit here with Farrington.
Yeah, so he's able to turn much faster than Farrington.
Yeah.
And again, the balance, when we speak about all these new, younger riders, but his balance is so incredible on the jump. Looking where he's going. And you see how tight they turn back to that double. That's incredible. I mean, Marilyn Little turned so tight back to that double. It was an incredible turn. Puts herself nearly a whole jump in front now. I mean, Pessoa turned tight, and you see, I think Kent made a few extra strides around that corner just to really level up for the double. It seemed to me that Kent was thinking more about the clear round this week, maybe the first time on grass for that horse in a 5-star championship. You know, last week he took much more risks in the turns. This week he seems to be getting his horse much more level at the jump.
The advantage of Marilyn Little is enormous. She, in that combination, Farrington still needs to take off. Pessoa is mid-air on the first vertical. Marilyn Little is about to land after the Oxer. This is the point where it really happens. We've slowed it down. We've added a counter in the corner to see how many strides everybody takes. Talk us through it, Joe. What happens, and especially why does it happen?
I think, you know, Marilyn lands perfectly, looking where she's going. She does everything right. And sometimes this just happens in jump-offs. You know, didn't quite get the stride she wanted, had to wait a few strides. Pessoa's much smoother, sees his stride much earlier, or gets what he wants anyway out the corner, and is able just to keep travelling all the way through that corner, and does 2 less strides. You know?
Yeah, because Farrington still needs to finish an extra stride, so he will do that on 9. Pessoa does it on 8. Little does it on 10. She was 3 strides in front coming out of the double, and actually Pessoa catches up with 3 strides with only one line left to jump, and that is this final line.
Yeah, and you see here as well, you know, she jumps this, starts to push, doesn't quite get the one she wants, has to slow down and takes the extra stride. Pessoa lands, sees exactly what he wants and just keeps going all the way down. Kent as well. I mean, Kent rode that last line very well, but it just seemed like he was more careful this week with the horse.
Yeah, this is an interesting one as well.
Yeah.
This is the start and finish line, just to show us how small the differences are even at the finish between Marilyn Little, Rodrigo Pessoa and Ken Farrington.
She rode for me, she rode the faster round, but it was a little bit more hectic at the end. You know, she changed her mind a few times, had to wait out the corner, and Pessoa just kept everything so smooth.
Is La Contessa also maybe the shortest striding horse that in such a situation maybe needs the extra stride?
No, I don't think so. I think she'll kick herself for those few extra strides at the end. I think she gave the class away, you know. She rode the faster round, just in that last turn changed her mind after the double. Just changed her mind or didn't get the one she wanted. That can happen when you're traveling at speeds. And to the last, I think she could have taken the risk. She could have taken one less. It's making split-second decisions on 160 jumps at speed on grass, you know? So there's lots of variables and sometimes you just don't get what you want.
There's one more picture that we need to show. We spoke about Mark Bloemen already on Landon Denese. This is a very interesting picture as well. Again, this is the finish line. You see, that's why you have to draw those things. This is the finish line for Pessoa. This is the one for Bloemen.
Yeah.
That's how much quicker he actually was with the 4 penalties.
I think this is one of the most exciting combinations in the sport at the minute, Mark Bloemen and Landon. They fit together, you know, and the speed and the smoothness they're doing these jump offs at. They're going to win something big in a minute, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. We've seen Landon at first here in Belgium. I think he was named Krakdenijse at the time. Then he went to Kent.
Yeah.
Then he went a short stint with Daniel Bloemen. And now with Mark, 4 Grand Prix, never more than a single rail down. Consistent. It seems like the two understand each other really well, like even personality-wise, you would even say.
Yeah, they fit, the personalities fit, but this is the great thing with our sport. I mean, I think Kent is one of the best riders in the world, but this horse jumps better for Mark. You know, it seems to fit better. Okay, he jumped incredibly well for Kent as well, but this is the right combination. You know, it's exciting. Like you say, the characters fit and they're just doing everything right. For me, at the minute, it's the up-and-coming combination. One of the up-and-coming combinations.
Rodrigo Pessoa wins the Major League final, the Grand Prix of Monterrey.
Yes.
How many Grand Prix did Rodrigo Pessoa win in the last 10 years?
I'm going to say not so many. Probably, I can't think that he's won a 5-star Grand Prix in the last 10 years.
He won the World Cup in Washington 1 or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But this is exciting.
Yeah.
For him to connect again with 5-star Grand Prix wins. Let's not wait any longer. We have got the legend that is Rodrigo Pessoa with us, the winner of the Monterrey Grand Prix. And welcome to the Horse Show, Rodrigo Pessoa.
Hey, Frederik. Hey, Joe. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
We're doing really well. Congratulations on a brilliant win. We had to check again to make sure that this was the first one next to the Marlboro win, the Upper Marlboro Washington win, in a long time actually at 5-star Grand Prix level.
Yeah, no, definitely. Washington, not last year, but the year before was the last 5-star win. You know, they're hard to get, and but I think that now I'm back on track with a real serious string of horses that will give me the opportunity to try and win them. And you know, these classes are super competitive, and it's not easy to get. So I'm thrilled with how the horse performed, anyways.
It seems like your energy's coming back on this level. I mean, it's so nice to see you riding those classes again and winning them again. It feels like there's an energy building again. You know, I don't know if it's the championships coming up or just the team of horses you've got, but it really feels like the motivation's back and you're back with your mind at the top spot. Is that right? Or?
Yeah, no, I think it's the sport is difficult to stay at the top level all the time. Of course, you have ups and downs. A lot of side things also have happened for me in the last couple of months and years. So now I really feel that I'm at a good place, and the team of horses that I have for Artemis are really, really good. And yeah, definitely the motivation is back to do well. And what happened on Saturday is already in the past. Now we look. We're already training for the next for this week and the weeks to come, and hopefully to a good summer.
We have to talk about that Grand Prix in Monterrey. When we compared everything, I was surprised to see how relatively late you actually came into the game. First 2-3 lines, especially the first 2 lines, lots of riders rode those faster than you. Was that intentional from your end? That you were not as fast as the others in those first 2 lines, the 180 turn and then the lead up to the vertical?
Yeah, the horse has a very big stride, massive stride. So I knew that, those were the numbers for me to start, 1, 2, 3. That was exactly what I wanted to do. Get straight to that orange vertical in the corner. That was tricky. It caught 1 or 2 riders, so I really wanted to get straight. It was 8 for me there. There was no 7. Otherwise, I was going to jump, too far out and then roll back quick to the oxer, and then there was no number to the double, but be as tight as possible. And then I had 8, and then for sure 9 on the last. I had walked it, and I knew the horse could get there easily. And the horse doesn't have the experience yet at this level in this jump offs compared to other horses. For example, La Contessa, that is very experienced at this level, but I could count on his big stride. And I thought, if it wins, it's okay. If it doesn't, I'll be close. I'm still happy with the performance. But I knew that after me, Chris Pratt and Marlin were definitely 2 very faster horses. But those were the numbers for me today. That was the correct number for me.
It's an interesting horse, Prins van Eigenlo. Can you take us a little bit behind the scenes? How did he come onto your radar? Who tipped him, or did you spot him yourself? Because all of a sudden, in the last, 4 months, 5 months maybe, he goes from, with Rodrigo Pessoa jumping at 3- and 4-star level to winning 5-star Grand Prix. Can you take us through that journey with you?
Yeah, it's a journey that started in July of last year. We purchased the horse. Artemis purchased the horse from Rodrigo Pessoa. I had seen him once or twice in Fontainebleau, actually last year in the spring, and I tried him. We liked him. Unfortunately, he had some health issues. As soon as we got him, I could not compete until he started working, really proper working, in October of last year. And then I did a small competition in December, and then in January really started, 140, 145. And everything went pretty fast because Major Tom was injured. I didn't have another horse, and I still wanted to compete. And actually, it went a little bit faster than I wanted to take the horse. But he was very smart. He learns very quick. He has a lot of potential, a lot of scope. He's very careful. He has a fantastic mind. He's just the rideability was not there yet. And we got caught in some difficulties in combinations in the beginning of WEF and everything, but the horse really developed very well. And by the end, and he was second in the 3-star, and then he jumped the League of Nations pretty well. And then he jumped the last Grand Prix with 2 down, but it was good Grand Prix, big Grand Prix. And now we said, okay, let's start in Monterrey. Maybe it's a little bit softer. It's on grass because we're heading up to the grass season now. And I'm not surprised that the horse did this performance, but I'm a little bit, shocked by the time frame of everything when we started in January in National Grand Prix with 4 down. But, it was nothing to do with the horse not being good. It was just the steering was not great. We were looking for the spurs and the bit and try to develop the horse at a 3, 4, 5-star level. As, wanting to perform well as well, you have to throw some classes away. But I think now we are, all of that hard work is behind us, and we still have to do a lot of work, but it's improving, and I'm very happy to how he developed from January to now.
And will we see you in Aachen and eventually the championships? Is that in the back of your mind, or is that still far away with this one?
Oh no, for sure it's on the radar. I won't go to Aachen now in May. It was very tight selections, and I didn't get a spot, so it's okay. I will start in Rome. I will do Rome and then La Baule, and we'll see. Major Tom will start competing this week again.
Super.
Obviously, I think my first option for August is him because he's very comfortable in that arena and he's been there and he has more experience, obviously. But we'll see how this horse develops. I feel that, the jump is there, the carefulness is there. He's super brave. It's just like the mileage, for a championship, you really want to go with a horse. If you want to go all the way and be a contender, it's a horse with mileage. But we'll see how he develops. And in August, the horse will say which horse wants to go and will be ready. It's the horse that decides. At the end of the day, it will be the horses that will decide and say, no, I feel ready to go, and then we'll go with that.
All right. Rodrigo, just about Prince, last question. We've seen him throughout WEF. Like you said, it seems sometimes that he's still a little bit spooky or a little bit tough on the rideability. On the other hand, it also seems that is part of his personality. Where do you want to go with him? Is it something that you would like to keep, or would you like things to become a little bit softer for your own comfort? Where do you want to go with him in terms of development?
Well, obviously, I want to keep all the qualities that he has and maintain those and perfect those, and I want to try to erase the negative points that he has. There are not many, but rideability is one. I would like to have him more rideable, so it's more pleasant. Here, from time to time, like to the double in the jump off, he was a little bit stiff still in the inside rein and stuff like that, but it's already much, much better. I would like to perfect those things, but, keep his happiness to jump. He has incredible power, and he's very careful. And, you don't feel that there's a jump that is too big out there. And the spookiness, the water, he's still a little bit curious on the water. In Ocala, he looked at the water a little bit, but he's jumped a couple now, and he's more comfortable, and that will go away with time. We won't do anything special, but I just want him to get more comfortable in different environments. And but he's very smart, so I'm confident that shortly, I will get him the way I want. And horses always keep evolving until the end of their career. They keep evolving, because it's a work. It's an everyday work, every week work, or keeping them, comfortable and keep evolving and growing and solidifying what you have, and to one day, be have the whole package. I think that the horse has the whole package, and it's my job to try to get him there. But I'm confident that I will get there.
So are we. Rodrigo, thank you very much for taking the time to sit down and talk to us. Congratulations on that win. Promise us one thing, don't keep us waiting as long for the second 5-star Grand Prix win.
No, this year I'll get another one for sure.
It was so nice to see you riding out there on that level again. It was a masterclass, really. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A good horse makes the rider look good, so it's okay.
We saw that early in the episode already with Joe as well, that a good horse makes him look good.
Yeah.
Rodrigo, thank you for taking the time.
Well done for the show. It's super cool.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.
I'm a little bit flabbergasted when Rodrigo Pessoa gives us a compliment.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
But like you said it, we've seen Rodrigo Pessoa over the winter in Wellington. Yeah. We've also seen him last year, and he was in Aachen last year, and he's always been there. But I think it's been a while since we've seen the magic that the name of a Pessoa can bring.
Yeah, that's it. This was really like watching the Pessoa like we know. I think a lot of the younger generation won't know what the Pessoa family's done for
I consider myself to be part of the younger generation. I do know, but no.
Him and his father before him, they were legends. I mean, what they've brought to the sport, not only in modernising the riding.
Give that some context. What did they bring?
Not only, I think they modernised riding. I think his father definitely was one of the first modern riders. Not only himself, but how many riders he's produced and how many people he's taught. I mean, I'm majorly influenced by the Pessoas, by Nelson. One of my earliest memories is watching a lecture demonstration of Nelson Pessoa when I was young, you know. And then Rodrigo, I mean, how old was he when he won the World Cup final? 10, 11? I mean,
yeah, very, very young.
You know, and
3 times even.
3 times World Cup winner. And that's, I mean, the generation that are riding now won't even know that. Not just the riding, but the bridles, saddles, ways of lunging, techniques. I mean, Nelson invented most of the stuff we're doing now, you know?
That we take for granted.
We take it for granted now. And I think Rodrigo then went on and perfected most of it. So to have him back at the top of the sport now is a pleasure to watch. And even we talk about all these turns these young guys are doing now. He was doing them before they were born, you know? You saw in this Grand Prix, he just fell to the outside, turned back to the double. It's a pleasure to have these guys back at the top spot.
You really enjoyed it, eh?
Love seeing those guys back at the top spot. And I don't think there's a rider alive now that could say they weren't influenced in one way or another by Nelson or Rodrigo, you know?
And probably, if you don't know it, it happened, but you're just not aware of it, that you got influenced by Rodrigo or by Nelson Pessoa.
Even the way saddles are built today. I mean, the first modern saddle was designed by Rodrigo, by Nelson, you know? That was the first saddle that was actually comfortable to sit in, you know? Before that, it was like, the Pessoa saddle was the first saddle that was actually comfortable. So what they've brought to the sport, thank you. They're legends, both of them.
There we go. Let's continue with the final standings of that Major League Grand Prix in Monterrey in Mexico. Rodrigo Pessoa wins on Prins van Eigenlo. Marilyn Little is second again. This time she is 0.14 behind on Pessoa. She was 0.15 behind on Derek Kenny. That means 15 more 5-star Grand Prix. And she wins it. That's not really nice. No, I shouldn't say that. It's again clear, I should say, from Marilyn Little and La Contessa.
Yes.
Ken Farrington and Descartes on clear. Then the fastest round came from Mark Blumen with Landon Denijzen. Shane Sweetnam with Corian van Klapschut. Just to keep in mind, Shane Sweetnam has now 5 5-star Grand Prix horses that jump clear or 4 in those 5-star Grand Prix. A career best performance for H5 London Time with Eduardo de Menezes. Them impressive. We did discuss it clear in the first round. Michael Duffy and Mr. Kelly around to watch back in the archive of Clipmahouse. Chris Pratt won the qualifier, was clear and 8 in the Grand Prix, and then the 2-time penalties from self-proclaimed amateur but multi-champion rider Patricio Pascual. The fall from Natalie Dean with Mr. Boombastic are also worth mentioning, and there is the rest of the field down to number 20. That is Skylar Wyman with Cielo. It was the final of Major League show jumping, so we also have final standings, the individual standings. Won by Ken Farrington. What does Ken Farrington not win? He wins the championship this year after coming second last year behind Connor Swale. Daniel Blumen finishes second. Marilyn Little, with her good performance, catches up with Mark Blumen in the last Grand Prix of the season, and both finished tied in third. Tied does feel like a thing for Marilyn Little after being tied in that Grand Prix with, who was it? Thaisa Irwin behind Derek Kenny. Aaron Byard drops to 5th on the final standings. Then Sweetnam and McLean, they switch places after the final Grand Prix. And from nowhere, Rodrigo Pessoa shoots up into the top 10 at the final stage. Rounded out by Laura Kraut and Skylar Wyman. And of course, where there is an individual final, was also a team final. And the team final is won by Maccabi United in front of the Trailblazers, who won the championship 2 years in a row. So now Maccabi United with Mark Blumen, Uma O'Neill, Thaisa Irwin, with Vanessa Hood, Gabriel de Matos, and with Ilan Blumen. That brings us to what is coming up this week on Cliphouse. It is a busy week because if you are watching this episode of The Horse Show on the live channel, I'm afraid there is a little bit more to watch coming right up, because coming right up is the Aloga auction. If you're watching this in the archive, the Aloga auction has already taken place, but coming up on the live channel is the Aloga auction, the badminton horse trials. We don't always talk a lot about eventing, but on Clip My Horse, the badminton horse trials, a must-watch with the cross-country on Saturday. The Longines EEF Series in Lier on Friday Nations Cup takes place there, but the 5-star Grand Prix that will be discussed next week on this episode of the Horse Show is the Versilia 5-star Horse Show, presented by Giorgio Armani in Italy, Joe.
Cool.
Yeah, presented by Giorgio Armani.
Can we get some free stuff?
No. We spoke about a lot of rounds already this week. Did we discuss the round of the week yet?
What's the round of the week?
The one that you sent, this is the round of the week.
Yeah, okay, good, yeah.
We've got it lined up for you because we already mentioned your son. This is Liam Klee. How old is he?
It's 14.
14.
Yeah.
This is the young horse cycle in Belgium. This is a 6-year-old that he produced himself?
Yeah, he's produced it mainly himself, yeah. A little bit of help from me, a little bit, not much.
Yeah. Why were you so over the moon? Because you were...
Because I'm his dad, that's why. And I was very proud of him. I didn't know you were going to show that clip. No. Thank you. Yeah, he's going to be really proud of himself. He rode great. I was so proud of him. He deserved that round. Yeah, and he was clear.
Yeah.
So
Really,
he's going to be
nice
really cocky this week. I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy working with him this week.
Blame it on me. Joe, thank you very much. Thank you to Rodrigo Pessoa, to Patricio Pascual, and to you at home. As mentioned, if you're watching this on the live channel, stay put, because the Aloga auction is coming up. If this is your watch on the free channel, keep in mind, in the archive rather, keep in mind that the Horse Show is free to watch, both on the live channel as well as on the archive. Thank you very much for watching. This was the Horse Show. See you next week. Bye-bye.